Another issue in sport is racism. Racism is the discrimination of people based on the colour of their skin. A recent issue involving racism is when Bernardo Silva tweeted out a picture of Benjamin Mendy saying happy birthday, and he also tweeted out a picture of a cartoon black person with it and captioned it Guess Who? This raised controversy around the footballer, who then went on to say how he could no longer have a joke with his friends. There is now a big debate over if the tweet was actually racist or not. However, the FA deemed it to be and served Bernardo Silva a 6-match ban, which has recently been extended to 9 matches. There is a long and nasty history related with racism. It has been around for as long as history records it, and it's only recently that things have been getting better for those who have been affected by it. It was only in 1968, 42 years ago, that racial abuse in public was made illegal. However, even though it was still in place, it was only 1976, so 34 years ago, that the institution actually started taking action to those who did use racist abuse in public, showing how bad the situation was back then. Racism has affected many athletes in the past. A huge one that was affected is Jesse Owens, who came back from the 1936 Olympics as a national hero. However, he still had separate travel and accommodation from the rest of the white Olympic team, and because he was black, he was severely underpaid in his work life, which resulted in him having to sell his Olympic medals to make enough money for his family. This sort of thing wouldn't happen now. In recent times, the racial abuse of players in football has decreased enormous amounts from past times, but is still very much prominent in areas of the modern game. In places like Italy, racism is extremely common, with constant reports every match week of racist abuse from the fans to the players, even to players playing for their team. In Russia as well, racism is rife. The fans of club Zenit St. Petersburg refuse to allow players to sign who aren't white, and if the club do, they boo and jeer them when they play, whenever they touch the ball. Racism in the game has affected everyone: the fans, the players, the clubs, the associations, and many more. The fans are affected as racist groups of fans decide to abuse their own or opposition fans. Examples of this is back in 2010, when Chelsea fans were at an away Champions League match in Paris. On their way home, a group of white Chelsea fans decided to push a black person off a train and not allow him back on. This racist act left the people involved banned from going to Chelsea games for 5 years, and were ordered to pay the man they pushed off the train £10,000 in compensation. However, this isn't enough of a punishment, as it only took them till 2015, so 4 years ago, and now they're back allowed watching Chelsea games, and they probably still haven't changed their views. It has affected players as well, as when they're playing, players are used to getting stick from opposition fans, but not in a racist way. However, when it does turn racist, it becomes a lot more personal and can have a lasting effect on the player and their mental health. Associations like the FA are affected by racism, as it shines a negative light on them as well, and they're the ones who have to hand out a punishment. Many people, though, do not like how the FA deal with racism, as they handed Millwall a £33 fine for the fans being racist, which for a multi-million-pound football club isn't much at all for them, and they won't think second of it. As well as this, they also handed out Huddersfield a £50,000 fine, but for a publicity stunt. This shows that the FA, as an association, do not deal with racism as they should, and they need to knuckle down and deal with it in a harsher way to create a bigger deterrent, as Huddersfield having to pay an extra £17,000 for changing shirt in a game, compared to Millwall's fans being racist, just doesn't go well. Change has come about in football to do with racism as well, though, as society has evolved with what they believe is right and wrong. As before, using racist language used to be accepted, and now it's not tolerated at all by authorities and most people. Also, with the players we watch, they used to be white, like in England's 1966 World Cup winning squad. However, if you compare that squad to the one we have now, there's a near 50-50 divide of white and ethnic people in the team, making it again worse to cause change. There have been positive changes to racism, though. The organisation Kick It Out is an initiative and is a service to provide a platform so people can report incidents to the club and not have to confront the person themselves. The use of this app is going up every year, and last year saw an increase of 43% from the previous year, showing that it's working with getting people to report incidents. However, for the future, I would want clubs in the FA to incite harsher punishments to those caught using racist language in and around stadiums, as by doing this, it will be putting people off using the language at the games. These changes have provided positive outcomes to do with racism in football. This is because the changes made in the game have allowed for people who are using the facilities and the stadiums and the players that are there to have a nicer experience whilst playing the game.